Orders, welcome back to my channel. Let's get into this recap about Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup. I have to catch up because, again, my internet went out for about a week, and so I'm just now getting to watch the 2 episodes and talk about them with you. As usual, I do watch this show online using Philo. I have an affiliate link in the description box down below if you too would like to sign up for a Philo subscription. With Philo, you're able to watch the show live as it's airing on television, you guys. That's the difference between this and Netflix and Hayu and everything like that. I still have Netflix, I still have Hayu, but this is a big advantage that I've got with Philo. So in episode 2, there wasn't too much that went down. So we picked back up with Gypsy crying over the parole mix-up. The supervising parole officer then calls her to clarify that she can leave Missouri the next day at noon, but she absolutely has to, and there's no time for her to stop and watch that football game that she wanted to go to. Honestly, I feel like she could have gotten away with all this stuff if she wasn't so public about her plans and so brazen. Obviously, she has a lot of haters and people who are upset that she is able to live freely after having done what she did. And so she should learn to be a little bit more discreet if she wants to enjoy her freedom more. Now, speaking of more discreet, how icky was it when she talked to her stepmom about how she consummated her marriage with Ryan and how, she didn't tell her that the D was fire, but she told the internet that it was, and it just felt like a lot, but I digress. And I do have to say, though, that I really like her sister. Her sister, she truly calls it like she sees it. She's not mean at all, but she's honest and she's forthcoming. I love people like that. So after Gypsy talked about consummating her marriage, what happens? Her sister pulls her aside to her bedroom or the bedroom of the Airbnb, and, starts talking to her about birth control, family planning, scheduling a gyno appointment to make sure she even is fertile and everything like that after all the medical abuse that her mom put her through. That really is a girl's girl. She truly has Gypsy's best interest at heart. I really do like her. So after the conversation with her sister, Gypsy sits down with everyone to eat cake and open the freedom gifts that they all got her. And her husband had gifted her some Christian Louboutin shoes, and she kept on calling them Christian Louis Vuitton. And it just made me laugh so bad because those are 2 completely different things. In fact, 3. Christian could be what? Christian Dior, right? It could be Christian Louboutin. And then Louis Vuitton is its own different brand. So the fact that she just is conflating it like that is just so cute to me, So that was that. And then her dad got her a necklace, and in the box that it came in was a really, really sweet note and about loving her always. And she obviously really appreciated it. I think she started tearing up. And I feel like her husband was low-key kind of jealous that she was so emotional over her dad's gift versus the one he got her, because his gift was so expensive, right? It was this big designer shoe that must have cost at least $800 to $1,000 and something. And then this necklace that I'm sure probably cost I don't know, 100 or something like that, maybe even less, meant more, because it was more, touching. So now, speaking of the husband being jealous, Ryan is so paparazzi obsessed. Every single time he drives, he has to make note of the fact that paparazzi are following them. And it's okay, mention it once just to give her a heads up, don't be picking your nose, girl, they're here. But he just keeps on looking at them all the time in their rear view. He mentions it every 5 seconds and stuff. They go to a drive-through for McDonald's, and then he's they're can you pull up to the yellow line? He's I can't. I'm with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Paparazzi everywhere. See this? All here for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. He's just so much. I can't. He's such a fan boy. And her sister collects that the necklace that Gypsy's dad bought her had his name, his wife's name, and her sister's name engraved on it, because she mentioned because her husband mentioned something about oh, I wish my name was on there. I was oh, wait a damn minute. I wish my name was on there. That was such a weird comment to make. I did make a video, I think when I was recapping it, well, of course, when I was recapping episode 1, about how he seemed really controlling and stuff. That felt I feel now in episodes 2, 3, we're introduced to the jealous side of him, and the possessive and the desperate for fame side of him. So yeah, I felt that was just so weird. First of all, you're not going to be around long. So I think it's best that her actual family is engraved on that and not your name. So Then we learn actually that Gypsy Rose's ex, who she was actually engaged to before she was engaged to this guy, he had actually reached out to her mother to ask how she's doing now that she has been released and everything like that. And so Gypsy talks about that. Ryan, of course, is not happy about it. He has like some special swear names that he refers to him as. And Gypsy talks about how Ken is actually the one who dumped her in the past because of all of the press. Like the press announced that the two of them were engaged. He didn't like all the attention and he broke up with her. And so then she starts talking about, oh, it seems like, he's trying to shake my marriage. A lot of people have been doubting my marriage, but like it's a very strong marriage. And now knowing that it didn't like last more than a couple of months of her being free, it's just so like, wow, to watch it go down. And so she and her family, they then start like their celebrations for the New Year in Louisiana. And Gypsy, she gets all dressed up. She's got this beautiful dress on, beautiful shoes. Her hair's done, her makeup's done. Her stepmom did her makeup. And like the stepmom was talking about how she always dreamed of being able to do this for Gypsy. When Gypsy was younger, she couldn't do it because Gypsy's mom wanted to convince everyone that she was too sick, too frail for anything. Then, of course, she went off to jail. And now she's finally getting to do this. And then she dances with her dad, and her dad says something that, I don't know, it made me so emotional, you guys. She's like, I never in a million years thought that I would ever dance with her standing up. And, because I wasn't very familiar with the Gypsy Rose story before watching the show. In fact, that's a major reason why I'm even watching it. But I assumed that the mom was able to do all this because the dad was a deadbeat. Like, he was like, okay, well, I'm washing my hands of this and creating a new family. But like, he was always there. We see pictures of him at like her not her recitals, but her games, her this, her that. Like, he was always there. And like, I guess he was so naive or brainwashed by the mom that he really believed that this girl was sick. And it's just, imagine that he was always there. And like, Gypsy couldn't say anything because Gypsy didn't even know anything either. She was just a kid, right? Like, it's all so wild. And like the fact that the mom had her in a wheelchair she didn't even need, like, it's crazy, you guys. It really, really was. So I did enjoy this episode. Like, I felt like it was a very like deep look into her. Episode 1 focused on like the release process from prison. And now this, you get to really see like what her life was like. And it's just crazy to me. And another thing was that she, like, back at the home that she's now sharing with Ryan, she talks about wanting a puppy, and Ryan is not really convinced about the idea of getting a puppy. But Gypsy's like, I love animals. I'm here at home alone all day long while you're at work. Like, I've got the time to take care of a dog, which I do think is true. Like, she can handle that. I personally would never want to have a puppy. I feel like they're too much work. I love dogs. In fact, I've got one lying around over there, not paying any rent. But I would never do the puppy thing. That to me feels like too much work. And then Ryan's like, it's a lot of responsibility. You're going to have to like walk it. Like, everybody knows that, Ryan. Okay. Like, you don't need to talk to her like she's a child. And of course she gets like really pissed off about it. And here's the thing. I kind of feel like Ryan is just so physically inactive that to him, the idea that anybody would like enjoy going for walks or whatever is so foreign. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay going for walks. In fact, that's one of my favorite parts of a dog is that like it pushes you to get out there and just walk, take a stroll for no reason. I absolutely love that. Now let's flip on over into episode 3. Again, don't forget, I watch Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup using Philo, and I do have an affiliate link in the description box of this video if you too would like to sign up for Philo to watch the show or pretty much any other reality show out there. There are over 70 different channels on that website, so definitely make sure to check it out. Okay, so episode 3. At this point, like, it starts off like with a banger, pun intended, because we get the behind the scenes view of what went down like in Gypsy's home after her viral comment about Ryan's D being fire. And speaking of viral, she just had another video go viral. I didn't even realize it was a real video. When I saw it online, I scrolled after she said something about like, my man would never look in your direction. I have a Chad. I was like, okay, this is AI. Like, no one would actually speak like this. Like, the only people who speak about Chads are incels, So I was like, why would, but it turned out that was a real video. Like, Gypsy, like, you really are not interested in laying low, girl. But I digress. And so as she discusses how all of the drama is going viral, she says that like, oh, I just know my exes are watching and they're tuning into this news and stuff, and they're jealous that your D is fire. And that was rather funny. I'm sorry, Gypsy. No one believes that Ryan's D is fire. I'm sorry. We're just not buying it. Please come up with something new. So then it's time for her to head to New York to do some press interviews, okay? And unfortunately, before they can fly into New York for these interviews, she has to meet with her parole officer to give an update on how everything is going. By the way, does anyone know how long she's on parole for? If you do, please let us know in the comment section. Unfortunately, that meeting lasts a little bit longer than it should have, and I'm thinking 30 minutes, an hour or something like that, which causes Ryan and Gypsy to run late for the airport. And so they're driving there, and he is just stressed and in a panic, and it's just making the whole situation worse. And this is where like his nasty attitude continues to shine through, right? Oh my God, where do I even begin? So they're figuring out like what's going to happen if they do not get to the airport in time to check their bags, right? And so a representative from GMA calls just to make sure everything's okay. They're going to arrive at the airport, and Gypsy's trying to figure out a solution. So she's like, okay, well, if we're not able to check these bags, we're just going to use carry-ons. You got Ryan. We're just going to use our carry-on. Ryan just insisted on being as difficult as possible. He's like, no, I can't just do a carry-on because my meds are in my checked bag. She's like, well, take them out of your checked bag and then we'll carry them on with us. How about that? He's like, I've only got 1 or 2 clothes. Well, let's stuff some more into your carry-on because a carry-on is perfectly capable of carrying more. All personally, I'm talking about myself here, like living in Paris, we typically do weekend trips, right? Like I'm talking 3-4 days or something like that, 5 tops, all with a carry-on. Like I have a Longchamp weekender bag. It doesn't even have wheels. I just slug it over my shoulder and it has enough clothes for maximum 5 days. Okay. And that's not like using a capsule collection method. If you do capsule, you have a lot more. So like, it's perfectly possible. So the idea, he was like acting like it wasn't possible at all. And I felt like he was being difficult for the sake of being difficult. Like Gypsy's fame has gone to his head, and I will provide you more details of that later. Okay. So, he was just super flustered about the entire situation. And in being flustered, he starts acting so rude to the driver. He's like, get in that lane, get in that lane. It's the C. We're going for C. Terminal C, blah, blah, get in that lane, get it. He just keeps on repeating it. He's like, pass that mother effer. And I'm like, is this man? So I thought this man was supposed to be a teacher. Like, okay, like it's controversial that you're with Gypsy Rose, but your own personal behavior still matters. I feel like if you're a teacher, you should not be behaving this way on a publicly televised show, just acting like just cursing and stuff. And then the stuff about the ex-boyfriend, like he's like, oh, that's a little effing oh, blah, 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 blah. Like he really is representing himself poorly here. And especially because I believe he's a special ed teacher, and just the way that his temper is set up, it's just not a good look at all. So, now, okay, so Gypsy's still on the phone with the Good Morning America representative here. And she tells the representative, okay, well, we'll do the best that we can, okay? Ryan is in the background saying, no, we won't. No, we won't. Isn't that weird? This is what I mean when I say he's jealous or something. Like her fame has gone to his head. What do you mean we won't do the best we can do? That was weird. Like you were purposely going to like sabotage us so that you guys don't make it to New York. What is that supposed to mean? We won't do the best that we can do. Like he's such a miserable prick. This is the most attention he's ever gotten in his life. And it has turned him, or if like it has brought out that such an ugly side of him that I really cannot stand. And then, what was crazy? When they actually pulled up at the airport, they had these tiny little suitcases that are technically carry-on suitcases anyway. So I was like, what was all this drama for? Is it because you've got a lot of liquids? Just dump the liquids, buy new ones in New York. Like, I'm sure you got a lot more options in New York than you do in Louisiana. No offense, Louisiana, but come on, it's New York City, Like, it was a lot of hoopla, much ado about nothing. Drama for the sake of drama. And I really cannot stand those types of people, to be honest with you guys. So thankfully they do make it to New York City. Again, I think it's because these are suitcases, the mini ones that you can just carry on any damn way, right? And then we also find out that he actually, when he got there, he was like whipping the suitcase around because he was so frustrated. I was like, what else is this man prepared to whip when he's frustrated? Because this is not good. This is not good at all. Oh, now, Gypsy in her interview on Good Morning America, she's like, yeah, like, she acted so much like she didn't choose to be like, super famous now, or to like continue to stoke the flames of fame. You know what I mean? Like, okay, her situation was already like famous, this, that, and the other outside of her control. Okay. But when you're on TikTok, when you're on Instagram, when you're on Good Morning America, when you've done a documentary, now you're doing a reality show, then you're going to do a book. You're choosing the fame, sis. Don't act lost. It's okay to say, you know what? Like, I have no other way to support myself. I haven't gone to college or university. I don't have a trade. I don't have I don't have hard skills. Like, this is what I need to do. I want to continue to raise awareness that like life does go on after, being a victim of Munchausen by proxy, like whatever. She should just own it instead of just being like, oh, who, me? You know what I mean? And then the Super Bowl, like announcing that you're going to the Super Bowl. Going public, asking Taylor Swift for tickets. Like, come on now. Anyway, let's get into how weird Ryan was to the couple of people who are waiting out. Do I have a good look? Do you see how few people are out here waiting for Gypsy Rose? Okay. It's just a handful. It's paparazzi who do not want autographs or selfies. But behind those gates, you only see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, okay, with their cell phones. So before Gypsy even comes out, Ryan is in the car looking at those people as he swings open the door, and he's like, oh my God, no selfies, no selfies. And he's yelling that out to the people. Where's our security? Our security, Gypsy security. Nobody cares about you, dude. Like, he is such a groupie. Her sister clocked him from the very beginning. And again, like, it's her fame going to his head. Oh, no selfies. Where's my security? Who are you? No one wants a selfie with you. No one is going to be a physical threat to you. Let me go back to the image of how few people were there. Okay. Like, these are the ordained camera people. Okay. Like, they've got a code of conduct. These are random, 4 or 5 people who just want a simple selfie. It's fine, dude. It's fine. So, then they do the interview at The View. And when they come out, Ryan is the one who comes out waving to all these people like he's the celebrity. He comes out like, we love you. We love you. What? But do we love you? Like, what? He's so weird. But listen, what more can you expect from someone who wrote into Gypsy while she was in prison and asked her to marry him? Obviously, he was going to be a clout chaser. Like, it's crazy. Oh my God. Next up. So this was a big media blitz day for Gypsy because now on her third stop, she heads over to the Nick Viall podcast. And she actually spent a lot of time on this podcast talking about her ex-boyfriend, Ken, and how he reached out via her stepmom and how he has a bunch of her stuff that she needs back and he's refusing. He's like, I want you to get these back personally. But how does she have a bunch of stuff? I thought this girl was in jail when they met. So like, how much stuff does she have in jail? Like, what? Like, so that to me was rather interesting. And I feel like she brought that up on her own. Like, she just wanted to talk about him. And it feels like he has been on her mind ever since he reached out to her stepmom. So that's very interesting, especially knowing now what we know, right? So she accuses Ken of wanting to break up her and Ryan and says that he doesn't deserve her at her best now after he left her at her worst, which is laughable, right? Almost as laughable as her talking about having a strong marriage now that they're already divorcing a couple months later. And, this man doesn't deserve me. Meanwhile, this is the man you're leaving your husband for. All right, girl. All right. So now that Gypsy and Ryan finish up with their media blitz, they decide to explore Times Square in New York, which is probably the worst place to go explore when you are famous, right? It was crazy. Look at that lady on the right. All of those like shocked faces next to her. Everywhere she went, everybody was asking for selfies, autographs, you name it. They were asking for it, but they were very, very polite about it. And again, Ryan was like, guys, if we give you a selfie, we're going to have to give everyone a selfie. Step out of the way. Step out of the way, But listen, I do say, although he is a little bit overzealous, and mind you, they did have hired security. So I don't know why he took on this role on his own, but whatever. I do think that she needed someone like strong with her in that moment to like keep things at bay, because they would have been held up all day, like not getting to enjoy the sights and rather just taking selfies and signing. Well, she would have been just taking selfies and signing autographs. So it is nice, you know, that he did handle that and kind of keep it to a minimum at the very least. So by the way, the people truly were, let me pull up a picture, for example, they really were rather supportive of Gypsy, as you can see there, like, we love you, Gypsy. It's terrible what your mom did to you, blah, blah. Like, I feel so bad that she missed out on her childhood, like that type of stuff, which, you know, warmed my heart. But I think that the editors, I'm sure there were haters there that were edited out. And so to show that there is another side, there is a not so supportive side, they cut to Gypsy sitting at home reading a long and unhinged DM that she received from someone calling her a waste of space and telling her to off herself. Honestly, the fact that people send these types of messages is so wild to me. Like, go outside, like sniff grass, you know, go swim at the beach, go do something, you know, go skiing, go snowboarding, have a poutine, something, you know, like, what is this? You know, just so weird. So anyway, Ryan has a call from his boss. Remember, he is a teacher, and here he is out there thotting and bopping, fame chasing his girl, who is a super controversial killer, basically, right? So the boss calls, dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Is he fired? I don't know. Let's find out. So basically, she just wants to verify that he is coming back into work on Tuesday. He confirms that that is the case. And then she lets him know that a parent is complaining. I didn't catch what the parent was complaining about. Is it the fact that he is married to Gypsy Rose? Or is it the fact that she's out there talking about the D is fire? You know, let me know in the comment section if you are aware, if you remember what it was that the parent was rather upset about. Listen, I'm not surprised, you know, with either one, to be honest with you guys. Then they all sit down at the family table. I don't know why I didn't get a screenshot of this, but he has a younger brother, and Ryan's basically on his younger brother's behalf is like, you know, Gypsy, let's take a photo with him, of you with him. Or sorry, they were asking Gypsy to like call the brother's crush so that he can ask her to the dance. So he's like, I want cool points, like have Gypsy Rose call, you know, that type of stuff. And so Gypsy, I guess she didn't want to do the call in that moment, but she did post for a photo with his younger brother, which I thought was rather cute. Then after they took selfies together, and it was honestly, I really liked that last scene. It was really nice to kind of like end on that note. I thought that was adorable. And then afterwards, Gypsy seeks therapy, which I think is a really wonderful thing to do when you've gone through all that she's gone through. And then she talks about the therapy session with Ryan, and the therapist isn't really well versed in Munchausen by proxy, but she wants to help Gypsy unpack her trauma and to kind of navigate like the perils of social media and overexposure with her, which I think is important. Though I still do think that Gypsy needs someone who's specialized in Munchausen by proxy, because that is a very unique experience. So I forgot, just before the therapy thing, actually, they went and toured some venues for a potential wedding. So that home that you're seeing on the left there is one of the homes or sort of venues that they went to look at, which I found rather interesting because there's not a lot of space. Where would people park? Where would you get good pictures? Like, how would you roll up nicely to this place? It's very, you know, it's in a very busy place. I feel like you need a lot more land so that it's like more tranquil, you know? And so after the therapist, well, Gypsy said that the therapist wanted to speak to her about the dangers of like social media obsession. We cut to a scene of Gypsy, per usual, posing for a selfie for social media. But to be fair, in this selfie, she was showing off her feeding tube scar that she was always rather insecure about. And she just wanted like other people who had that to feel seen. So I think that that was rather lovely. So that was it, you guys. It's a recap of what went down on Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, episodes 2 and 3. I do want to know what you thought about it. Episode 4 is coming out next week. And I just got to say, it looks good. It looks fire, should I say. Like, there's a lot going on that I'm really excited to see. So notably, they're going to show her kind of wanting to leave Ryan and get back together with Ken. And it's just so wild how quickly we're going to jump from episode 3, her talking about my marriage is strong, I had to prove everybody wrong, Ryan doesn't deserve me, to episode 4, I'm getting a matching tattoo with him, I want to be with him. Like, woo, the whiplash of it all. And I love me some whiplash. Child, whip my hair back and forth. Why don't you? Let me know what you thought about these episodes in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more recaps if you haven't already. And that I do have an affiliate link. You can get a free trial to watch the Gypsy Rose show and many others, including the documentary on her on Philo. Okay, you guys, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.